I've been documenting a lot of my paths and memories for quite some time, and I've always wanted to embark in the YouTube environment, but I was intimidated because I just didn't fit in with all those things that you see on your typical YouTube channel. You know what I mean? And I find people that are that are like me, but yet I still haven't really found somebody that hits my soul. And more so, their life is not like mine. You know, you see the glitz and the glamour, but what about before then? You don't really see the documentation. And if you do, it's just, I don't relate to it. Realizing too that social media has become our validation, our therapy that so many of us cannot afford. That so many of us don't have the time to find a therapist that relates to us or that we connect with, because we're working. We are legit working all the time. We work to live instead of, truly living. And I suppose I just don't want it to be like this anymore. Paycheck to paycheck, hustling. And I don't even want the big house. I don't need I do want the extravagant car because I'm always in my car, so might as well. But I really don't need all that. I don't need a 7-bedroom or a 5-bedroom. I don't need all that. I just want something where it's clean and it's my own, and I can organize the fridge the way I want it to be. I can really invest in good fruits and vegetables, bake cookies on my kitchen island. That's really what I want to do. I don't need a big house. And, of course, you're taught to dream big, but if you really look at it, that's really not necessary. I don't really need all that square footage. Then you gotta clean it. Then you gotta pay somebody to clean it. And you're always having to work just to upkeep the payments. I don't need that. I want something that I can pay off, that I can pass down to my children. Something that is sustainable where you can afford to maintain if in case whatever I may have may not last. But I'm just feeling overwhelmed because I'm really not where I really want to be, even though I've grown a lot. I've fought my way through, but it's like you fight one thing and then another one comes and you're so exhausted. You feel like you can't do it anymore. And then, the negative thoughts of just giving up. But you have to remember that it's not you that it's not just about you. You got kids that you have to make sure that they're okay. But what happens if you're not okay and you're just really tired? And so I don't even want the glitz and the glam. And you hear people say that all the time, but honestly, this is my therapy because, it's not in my budget to have that access. And honestly, I just don't even have time to do the research between school and work and, providing for my kids. It takes a toll, and I don't want their memories to be of me like this. And, you see people who post shit on YouTube, and you're like, why are they crying? Why are they showing that? And I get it now. Because they just don't really have anybody that they can truly talk to.
And so they reach out to you guys and try to figure out like what are we really doing here? And so I get it. And I used to shame them. And I get it now. And I understand that people, all they really want is just to feel, loved and appreciated. And honestly, all I really want is just to provide for my kids and make sure that, like if we go into the grocery store, I don't have to limit them, to like, okay guys, you can only pick 2 of your favorite snacks, And then when I do get home, I usually pick out the basics like yogurt and fruits, right? And that's good. That's a blessing. Because in other countries, I remember this picture that I discovered on Google. And I don't know where the children were from, but they looked to have been of Middle Eastern descent. And the brother, I believe, if I remember correctly, he had no shoes. And he was holding his little brother who had shoes, but his toes were out. And they were just sitting at the bottom of the stairs. And the older brother was holding his younger brother. And I don't really remember the caption, but it had something to do with food. So we're in, I live in America, and, my mom is Spanish Filipina, and the things that she had to endure just to come here, I don't take that for granted. I don't take my education for granted, because it's such a blessing when so many people are finding their way just to get here to have what we have. But all I'm saying, I guess this video is just, I just don't really have anybody to turn to. I mean, I do have my great friend Brian, and he's been really patient with me as I like really lash out, and even though he's annoying for sure. And then Kyla and Kim and Nini and Dara, my brother. There's so many great people, but you know how like you don't want to keep bleeding onto them, because they do have a lot of stuff that they're going through, and you just don't want to bombard them because you don't know what type of mental day that they're having. So I get it. I finally get it. It's finally clicking why people post on social media, because it's their escape from reality. And genuinely, they just want to find people like them that they can identify with and feel accepted. So I suppose this entry, which is like my 100th, I guess I'm just at a point in my life where I'm confident to say that I need help. And I'm not feeling that good. But at the same time, more so, I just want to succeed for my kids. That's all. And more so for me too. Not only for my babies, but for me too, because like when you grew up with people, shaming you and telling you that you were never gonna amount to anything, you started to believe it. So I suppose, honestly, I feel so much better just talking it out like that, where I didn't bleed onto somebody and I didn't ruin someone's day. And sometimes a lot of people, they don't even know what to say. They just listen, and then in return you're like, oh, that's it, so I just feel so much better. Okay, thanks for listening.
There's the video that I made where I mentioned a few people's names of my friends, but that doesn't include everybody. It doesn't include all the, oh my God, a burger. It doesn't include all the people that truly have made an impact in my life. So if you don't hear your name, because I only mentioned a handful. That's only because it's just at that immediate moment, those people are the ones that were there to bless me with their time. But for all the names that I didn't mention, like Cynthia, Lisa, you know, Angie, my mom, my children, that doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean that you went unnoticed. And I look like a table, but the shirt is really baggy. I promise. Yeah, because, okay. But the point is that just because you don't hear your name doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean that your presence, your investment didn't go unnoticed. It played a major part in my story. So I just wanted to clarify that when I do post the video.
Started changing color, so I just want to...
Sé que un día tú volverás y tú de todo te arrepentirás. When you were in love, let yourself heal.